They say the finest things in life come at a price, but you know what? Sometimes aiming for simple can really hit the spot. I'm not sure where you guys are in life, but my circle of friends are people currently graduating school, looking to move out, getting married, wanting to start a life. It made me realize that we indeed all got budgets to respect, especially when it comes to upgrading our tech. So, you know what? I got exactly the laptop one of my friends wanted to buy for his girlfriend who's about to start her career as a notary. My curiosity led me to work with Asus on such a laptop to see what it can offer for the average consumer and maybe talk about what the term budget brings along something like this. I was thinking last night, I think it's important to define budget. Like, budget doesn't necessarily mean cheap. It just means, investing in valuable items that offer lasting quality. You know what they say, price is what you pay and value is what you get. And I think it's important to understand that. Well, at least it is for me. In 2024, with current inflated prices of pretty much everything, our dollar is basically a lot less strong than what it used to be. So now we are stuck with items at a higher price point, and I find it makes it so much harder to choose when it comes to saving money. And so for me, budget pretty much became a word that I think it's loosely thrown. I think budget has become buying an item that offers great value for your dollar. When I have friends asking me for recommendations when it comes to laptops, they themselves inquire about laptops that are not cheap and will last long. And I always refer to my time working at Best Buy. I think not staying away from cheap laptops will inevitably lead to double spending your money. Trust me, I saw clients coming back past the 30-day return policy quite often. Look, budget laptops are very possible. However, budget is not what it used to be. This doesn't mean there aren't deals out there to be found. Heck, I found a brand new M1 MacBook Air for like $850 not long ago. So if we look at the big picture, I tend to say a laptop that represents a great value for your dollar now comes at around $900 to $1,200. And this year has turned to be a great example of that, the Asus Vivobook S14 OLED. When my boy reached out, a light bulb went on in my head. It's probably like the 12th time I get asked about the Asus Vivobook. Now, if you guys know me, I love recommending laptops like the Zenbook, the Gram Slim, the XPS 13, but with everyone asking me about this model, I had to bring one to the channel and see it again for myself. And I will say, judging by the amount of friends that inquire about it, the market for this laptop has absolutely evolved. And to my understanding, I think it's because Asus is one of those companies that constantly spend time making their entry-level models better. In fact, I find it very impressive how looks-wise, this is very similar to one of my $3,000 gaming laptops. When I took this out of the box, I was genuinely surprised. This here's a thin and lightweight laptop coming in at 1.3 kilograms and about 1.39 centimeters. It's a device that prioritizes portability, but it also seems to prioritize design. Going back to my comment earlier, look at this. This is an all-around aluminum alloy chassis. If I remember well, it's got a MIL STD 810H military standard, and what I love the most is that fingerprints on this matte-like chassis is not really as big of a thing like on my MacBook. And that same comment goes for the bottom of the chassis as well as the interior of the body. For me, not having to clean this as often as I do with my other laptops is definitely a plus. As a whole, honestly, for the dollar, it's quite impressive to see this type of material on this laptop. We've got, of course, proper hinge displacement, a screen that barely has flex or wobbles while typing, and a device that can be opened with the right set of screw tips. I will say, when I was opening this up, I did find it a little tricky. Turns out that the middle of the chassis has like a hidden screw. It's kind of hidden by this small looking plastic cover. As a whole, overall, if you are someone that doesn't necessarily like messing with laptops like this, I mean, I do recommend leaving it as it is. I will say though, the only thing you can upgrade inside here is the SSD. Nothing else. In fact, everything seems to be practically either soldered into the motherboard or literally on the other side of it. In here you will find a 75 watt-hour battery paired with a couple of Harman Kardon speakers sitting right underneath what Asus call their Asus Ice Cool thermal technology, which in short guys, it's a system with dual fans that allows for the system to cool down so it can keep running up to standards below noise levels of 38 decibels. So basically the fans aren't loud at all. The one thing that really surprised me for a laptop that's $899 is the variety in ports. It basically feels like a 14-inch MacBook Pro in that way. Like this here has a couple of USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports on one side, and on the other a few like an HDMI 2.1, a couple of Thunderbolt 4 ports, a micro SD card reader, and an audio jack. So for people who work from home or are allowed to use these as their own work laptops wherever they go, a dock might not be as necessary as you might think. You've got plenty here to connect a mouse, a keyboard, a headset, I don't know, an external monitor. The connectivity really surprised me knowing what this laptop used to be in the past. As for the display, honestly, for the past 24 hours, it's been really good. It's actually very bright. In fact, it feels slightly brighter than my M2 13-inch MacBook Air. It's been really good for indoor use and very decent for outdoor use. This being a 3K 120Hz OLED panel, I mean, you really can't complain about something like this, especially if you're someone that deals with, I don't know, a lot of text. With high refresh rate, you've got great motion clarity. Your eyes don't need to work as much to keep up with text as you scroll. Whether you're coding, browsing the web, or you're in Excel, artifacts within higher refresh rates appear clearer. So it's almost like you get that feeling that you can read text mid-scroll. For those who really care about the technicalities, yes, it's HDR validated. It's got a screen ratio of 16:10, 100% DCI-P3 with a contrast ratio of 1,000,000:1, a 0.2 millisecond response rate with an 89% screen to body ratio, a design that Asus actually calls Nano Edge. Basically, they minimize the bezels as much as possible to give you that immersive design. And sure, it works, but I think more than anything, it makes it seem like you're using a 13-inch laptop when in fact, the screen really feels like a 14-inch display. It's really well done. Now, I'm about to express my love for this keyboard. I mean, I think throughout my YouTube career, it's been so freaking hard to pinpoint exactly which keyboard is the best. I will say though that this is definitely high up there, and it's quite shocking considering the Vivobook is with an Asus more affordable lineup. But what the company has done here is that they've really allocated some time to make this keyboard the best they could with the budget associated to this product. This here's the ErgoSense keyboard, okay? Honestly, in feel, it's basically the same keyboard as my ROG laptop with smoother keystrokes. Pressing a key delivers a complete different experience compared to something like my 15-inch MacBook Air. I think the key travel at 1.7 millimeters is just right. It never left me wanting more. I like the dished keycaps that matches the shape of my fingers. I love the width at 19.05 millimeters, which is very similar to a full-size desktop keyboard. And I mean, I love this scissor key mechanism this delivers. It's basically a little mechanism that minimizes noise and resonance, so you're not the only person people hear in a classroom while typing. This being said, the 14-inch Vivobook doesn't have the full-sized numpad, but it does have proper function keys, and it also has the ErgoSense touchpad. Again, it's built to be quiet, smooth, comfortable, and responsive, but above all of that, it's 40% bigger than the previous gen, which I love. These type of trackpads allow you to really travel your cursor in a natural way, and with a longer 0.23mm click depth, the feedback it delivers when clicking does feel sharp to the tip of your finger. I think if I was to nitpick anything about this laptop, it would have been the ability to let consumers change their RAM modules. That's literally about it. Like, hardware wise, this to me as a first look is very close to perfect. Like subtle details like a camera cover, a proper fingerprint resistant chassis, a trackpad that doesn't seem to pick up too much noticeable grease, louder speakers compared to the previous gen.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth. I can take what I need to get by.
I think as a whole, it really is a laptop to recommend in that aspect. It's clearly noticeable that it's been worked on, redesigned, and it went through multiple reviews when it comes to production. The work shows, but really where things get a bit more complicated, it's in terms of performance, and it's not because I haven't had a great experience with it, but it's more because this is an engineering sample. So whatever I'm about to comment, please note that in terms of performance, this is the foundation of this hardware. Meaning that performance can only get better, but I don't know how much better. One thing I will say, and it's the first thing I noticed performance-wise, is battery life. This 75 watt-hour battery really lasts for a while. I did a single battery run and I got about 13 to 14 hours of use. I was doing the usual things such as browsing the net, using Notion, answering emails, leaving it chilling on my sofa, and so on. I think just to give you an idea of how good Intel Evo is capable at retaining battery, with Discord open and loading messages as they come in, I left the laptop on at about 2:40 p.m. chilling on my Husky, and at 3:15 p.m. when it came back, it was only down to about 22%. I also tested the charging yesterday, so for me, 10% to about 68% took around 37 minutes to complete. I know Asus state that from 0 to 60% it takes about 49 minutes to charge, but my testing was lightning fast. With all of this being said about Asus, Intel has been trying to keep up with the market, like they're trying to make sure that battery life and power efficiency is the best to deliver the best working experience to us. I've talked about what Intel Core Ultra does to these new laptops in the past. In a nutshell, these are laptops that deliver great power efficiency, proper AI enhancement features that can help with work, things like Copilot, which is quickly accessible through the function keys to quickly access Windows AI powered tools. Intel's integrated new graphics hardware into their chip called Intel Arc. It's got a new NPU that Intel calls its Intel AI Boost technology. It's basically very similar to what Apple Silicon deliver, but within the Windows platform. As a brief example, Asus AI comes in with Asus AI Sense camera that allows you to maybe automatically blur the background, auto-frame the subject during calls, 3D noise reduction, and even AI noise cancelling if you ever need to. I think Windows 11 is really trying to bring AI to life through proper use cases, and a lot of companies have been trying to implement this type of technology within their tools. That being said, for the average consumer that sees these tools as an enhancement to their everyday lives, I do want to comment on the fact that performance for me has been on point, mostly when it comes to doing everyday tasks. What I mostly look for in these type of laptops is loading times. How many things can I open and have running in the background without an issue? Are there any slowdowns when installing programs at the same time? Do I feel like the laptop needs to be restarted often to start on a clean slate? Are there any specific programs that make the laptop feel slower compared to the other ones? With entry-level laptops, I often try to observe performance in this way. Yes, Chrome seems to be running very well. Installing tools within my terminal has been a breeze. Loading code is perfectly fine. I tried to even go as far as loading a massive project vlog we are currently working on with DaVinci, but that's where this laptop draws the line. Although at the end of the day, it just made me realize how much these laptops are capable of. I can easily edit photos within Lightroom and enhance them using Photoshop. As that runs in the background with ease, I can keep browsing the net, open an Excel sheet and work on it. For people who need a solid laptop to get work done, this seems to be very promising in that way. I think laptops like the Asus S14 OLED are laptops that are worth taking a look at. I know this isn't my usual review where I typically spend at least a week with my laptops, but I really wanted to conversate what the current status of entry-level budget laptops are looking like for 2024. I think it's very promising, especially with companies like Asus pushing the envelope. Not only is Intel also genuinely trying to catch up with other architectures, but the hardware and the design really is getting better. AMD is also a great choice, and the Asus Vivobook will ship worldwide with that chip as well. Asus are very much trying to cater towards the more premium user, although by still providing laptops that are reasonably priced and are able to over deliver. I'll leave a link to it down below. I literally decided to make this review because I've been asked about the Vivobook so much this past year. This is it. This is literally my 2 cents. Like always, make sure you watch some reviews, benchmarks when it comes out, and buy from reputable stores that offer a proper return policy just in case. I'll leave you guys with this. I'm actually upgrading my monitor to an OLED monitor at the condo, so I'm excited for that. Take care guys, and I'll see you next week, like always, on Sundays.